Next one, no pointing fingers, right? No pointing fingers, you got to own everything. I remember my first year, right, when we really kicked off for the first time, right? We ended up doing a road trip. We were on statewide appeal. We ended up doing a road trip down to Coffs Harbour, right, or just above Coffs Harbour. And on the Wednesday, we had an almost literal hurricane, right, came through the turf at about 3 o'clock, lasted for the rest of the day and into the next day, right? But at the end of that day, I did my job as a leader, and I had 3 team leaders at the time, right? I had a guy named Andy, who we nicknamed Gator because he looked like a thumb, but every time we went out, he pulled, right? We had a guy named Graham, who was 52 years old, right? Just an old Aussie fella. And then we had the new kid on the block, a guy named Rory, right? Who'd only been in the business a couple of months, but was doing pretty quickly. And at the end of that day, we obviously had a horrible day. And I said and I called Andy first, and I said, hey man, what happened today? Right? Why didn't we hit target? And he goes, oh man, you should have seen that rain. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. Nothing we could have done. I was like, yeah, all right, man, cool. And I did my job as a leader, and I said, okay, but what could we control out of that? It took me about 15 minutes to get it out of him, right? I call up Graham, and I said, hey, the old fella, I said, hey, what happened today, man? Why didn't we hit the target? He goes, mate, the rain fucked us. Right? That's good. If anyone knows Graham, it's a great Graham. Nothing we could have done about that rain. Right? Right? Again, what could you control? Whatever. And then I called up this young guy, Rory, right? I called up that young guy, Rory, and I said, hey, man, what happened today? Why didn't we hit our target? Like, he answered on the first ring. Like, he knew the call was coming, right? And he answered on the first ring. And I said, why didn't we hit the target today? What happened? And he stopped for a second, right? He said, I need to get my guys better at working in bad weather. The next day, his team got a PB.